Thanks for joining everyone today's Business Projectors seminar. Quick bit of housekeeping before we start the presentation. The seminar should last no more than about an hour. We'll start with a presentation from Robert Meakin, and then we'll move into the Q&A session. So on the right-hand side of your screen, you should see a moderator live chat. So as we go through the session, please feel free to type your questions in there, and we'll answer as many as we can at the end. So I'm going to stop talking now and hand over to Rob. So Rob, over to you.
Thank you, Alex, and good morning, everyone. Hope everyone is well. So if you don't know me, my name is Robert Meakin, as Alex just mentioned. I am the Business Projector Product Manager for Sony. Been doing this for a number of years. So today, as Alex already mentioned, 45 minutes. I got a lot of slides, I got a lot of stuff to update you on, and so I'll do that. But I've got 45 minutes. I'll try and get through it as fast as I can, and then hopefully at the end we do have a lot of questions, and I can answer anything that you may need to know. Okay, so already done the introductions. I want to talk about key trends, key technologies. You've probably heard this from me many times, but it's worth repeating. And then I want to talk about the new VPL-PHZ50 and the PHZ60. We launched these two models at the end of last fiscal year, replacing the PHZ12, which was a huge success for us. But I don't think that we've been able to get to you all about the key new features of this product. So I'm going to go through the key features, the new features, how we've improved the quality and the features on this product from the PHZ12. And then model overview, obviously Plutus, Longhorn, we still have a very large product lineup. And then I will then give you some updates of what's happening with that lineup and a very quick view of a roadmap, looking forward to the future, and then Q&A. Okay, so let's start. Okay. I hope you've all gone to the Spark2021 trade show. So please do if you haven't. As you can see, we have a section all for business projectors. So please go there. There's a lot of things that you can see. There's a video that I've done talking about the PHZ50 and the 60 and the CWZ10. You can view a lot of our products on display. You can click on it, download a lot of information, brochures. You can then go to our website and see all our new products. And equally, there's a chat area. So if you have any questions, you can certainly chat to me. I've had a few chats already from last week, people coming online and asking me some questions. So please do that if you have not done that. And you probably, if you were on the webinar with Damien Weisenberger, the very first one that we had at the beginning of last week, you would have heard that there are changes to our team. We are now an independent group within Sony, reporting into the consumer side. We are independent, we are autonomous, and there will be some investment within our area. So this is all good news. And from a product marketing manager within Sony, equally, this is good news for me, because I know that under the consumer side of the business, as an independent entity within that group, there's going to be a lot more investment available to us. There's going to be a lot more technology. So this can only be a good thing moving forward. For you out there, expect to see some great things coming from us in the near future. And for me as a PM, getting to more investment within this category. Okay, so I always, if you know me, I start with this slide. Why Sony? Well, 40 years of technology with 3LCD, bright era. It's a technology that we own, it's a technology that we use, and all my projectors using 3LCD. SXRD is another technology that we use, that is Sony technology based on LCOS. We use it in simulation and home cinema, but the good news is, and you probably are already aware of this, we introduced the GTZ380 couple of months ago, and that is the first projector that we have pushed into the B2B market. So we can see this product as a 4K resolution SXRD technology for the first time in our B2B market, where we can position this for auditoriums, boardrooms where they want the best of the best. So SXRD technology, 4K resolution, and so forth. And as just mentioned, the consumer product synergy, we're now part of consumer. So there's just a lot of joint development going on there as well. And the development of future technology. So I highlighted here, phosphorus laser 3LCD, industry first. We were one of the first or the first to bring this to market. And this market has certainly adopted this technology when it comes to laser technology in the market, which you'll hear me talk about a lot today. But clearly 3LCD, laser phosphorus as a technology is the preferred technology with laser moving forward. So again, 3LCD against DLP. We've talked about this many times. It's not worth too much discussion now, but 3LCD is our technology. We've been using bright error technology for over 10 years now. This is just removing the carbon from the actual panel. So we have better quality, better light performance. We can push more light through the technology, better color, better aperture and everything. So we believe that our 3LCD technology on the market is the best on the market. And against 3DLP, there's give and take there, but one of them that we always talk about is color light output. Trying to put a 3LCD projector up against a DLP, you will always see 3LCD being a brighter projector at spec at white brightness. One of the reasons why you don't see DLP specking color light output. Okay, so those are things you've heard from me so many years from now. And so with laser and with 3LCD technology, we now know that we have projectors that will work 20,000 hours in the market. And that's a huge game changer from when lamps were on the market. So not only 20,000 on the laser light source, and what that means is after 20,000 hours of use, our projector would have deteriorated the brightness by 30%. So if you do the math, an FHZ 101, which is 10,000 lumens of brightness, after 20,000 hours of use, you will probably be on average at 7,000 lumens, still a very viable product, still used within the environment it is. So please make sure that you check what the criteria is with other manufacturers. But we have 20,000 hours on the light source at 30% brightness degradation, but equally on the panels, we also have 20,000 hours because of bright error technology, because of 10 years of developing that technology. We know that those panels can last for up to 20,000 hours without any burn-in or image retention. I've talked about this in the past. I've done a article about it, about 20,000 hours, and what does it really mean? What does it mean for us? What does it mean for the market? So please go to my LinkedIn. If we're not linked together on LinkedIn, let's do it, and go to YouTube and you'll see my video talking about this very specific subject. So laser is Sony, Sony is laser. We were the first to develop in 2013 with the FHZ55, the blue laser phosphorus, and then we introduced, that was the world's first, then we introduced the world's brightest, and ever since then we've been going on and on and on with new technology. We introduced it into our home cinema market, we've introduced it into our VSVE market, so we have a lot of good technology. We understand laser technology within 3LCD. Equally in 2017, when we introduced the PHZ10, that was a game changer, small compact chassis, 5,000 lumen WXGA. Nobody had seen anything like this in the market. Huge success in the market. And now we went to the 12, 50, and 60. So I will be talking about the 50 and 60 later. And then we continue to go. Okay, so yes, we have got a lot of experience now with this type of technology, and we will continue to do it. So our lineup from a CWZ10, which is laser, WXGA resolution, the PHZ50 and 60, which I mentioned we launched a couple of months ago, the FHZ66, the 61, the 58, and the 70 and 75. There's some changes going on there. I'll let you know in this webinar. And then we have the relaunched the 91, the 101, and the 131, which was first introduced with the 90 and the 120. So a lot of success in that market as well. So that is our full laser lineup moving forward. But I will have a roadmap towards the end. So one of the things that I just want to quickly mention, and this has come up and it still comes up today, about laser classification. There was some discrepancy a while ago about what is laser technology, what is it classed as. So under the EN 60825-1 2014 or the IEC 68251 2014 classification, we are class 1. All laser projectors are pretty much classed as class 1. So don't be worried about the technology in education and in corporate environment. It's very safe as any lights that are currently in those environments. So I just wanted to make that very clear, because still today I still get questions about it. And the reason why I get questions about it is because in China and in the US, their classification is 3R, which is a different description under the guidance. So PHZ50 and PHZ60, let's spend some time on these two models. So we introduced them a couple of months ago, WXGA. It's still lamp replacement. There's still a lot of lamps out there. There's still a lot of classrooms and universities, about 30 kids where students where they're still using lamps, they're still replacing lamps. They still have that issue of maintenance, replacing lamps and everything. This is a game changer. Or the PHZ10 when we introduced it was, and we continue to see that this is still a market that is huge and that there's still out there. Corporate boardroom, conference room, you name it. Something new, 4K 30p input is now on this projector, but I'll explain that later. Okay, so the 50 replaces the 12, that replaces the 10. So that's 5,000 lumen WXGA projector. And then we have now the PHZ60, which is a 6,000 lumen WXGA model. So I know a lot of you guys on the call have said, when is Sony coming out with the 6K? You started this market, you started the small chassis with the 5K, and now some of your competitors have gone to 5 and 6. Where's your 6? Well, we now have a 6. And so we now have that 5 and 6 with the WC10 at 5,000 lumens with WXGA. So we have that 3 models within that sweet spot, which I'll explain later. Okay, obviously 5 years, 12,000 hours, still standard. There is 20,000 hour swap, and we are looking into a 7-year lifetime support, but I was hoping to give you some more information on that today, but we're still working on, can we offer a 7-year based on the new technology on these 2 projectors, okay? So let me go through the improvements. PHZ12 against PHZ60. So the improvement is, as I've already mentioned, 5K, now 6K. Color quality. We've introduced a new feature called Bright View, and this allows you to just increase the brightness a little bit in those areas where there's too much ambient light, and I'll explain that later. So we've improved that color quality. We're able to increase the brightness a little bit, not necessarily the spec, but we're able to manipulate the panels to give that hint of brightness, but we don't change the color accuracy. Crispness, reality creation. So this has been around for a while, but this is we've improved it. And so now we have the low frequency, the mid frequency, and the high frequency, so we can adjust accordingly to get better detail, better depth of field, which I'll show you later. So that's another great feature. What you guys have always asked me for, and we've now finally done it, better throw ratio with these 2 models than the PHZ10 and 12. We say we are the smallest on the market, and that is true. So very small, compact projector in the ceiling, in any classroom, disappears into the ceiling. 4K, so we now have 4K 30p input. So anybody who wants to use 4K 30p, we can take that in, we scale it down, and we can show in WXGA. But with using of reality creation, we can then get that real good crispness, sharpness with the image when somebody's using sending the signal of 4K 30p. Okay, and we've stopped the projection station wireless peer-to-peer capabilities, which was the IFU WLM3 dongle. This model doesn't take it in 50 and 60, but we do have 2 HDMI inputs. I'm sorry, 1 HDMI, but we have a USB power output, so you can actually use a lot of retail / type of off-the-shelf mirroring devices out there. So you can use a tablet or anything and you can mirror to that device, external device that's connected to via HDMI and using power from our USB output. And last but not least, something that I talk about a lot, Sony, the smart projector, intelligent settings that we introduced in the FHZ70 and 75, yeah, that's correct. And so we're improving that technology. Now we have version 2, which I'll explain. So a lot of new improvements with the 50 and 60. So you've enjoyed the success of the 10 and the 12. We hope that we will both enjoy the success of the 50 and the 60. So we now have 5K and 6K going up against our typical competitors. Okay, so a lot of improvements. So one by one, Bright View. So this is technology that we introduced for the first time in these two models. In layman terms, really what it is it's used for classrooms or corporate environments where there's a lot of ambient light, there's a lot of sunlight that may be coming into the classroom or to the room, and you just need that extra punch. So within the menu, we have a thing called Bright View. You can click on it, you can go off, low, medium, and high, and it just gives an extra boost of brightness. But what we're doing, we're not going from 6,000 lumen or 5,000 lumen to 5.2 or 6.2. We're just adjusting the color temperature, and we're adjusting the green just a little bit, so it gives that kind of better contrast, better depth, and just clearer and a little brighter. And we do that through a signal processing with every pixel. We just adjust and brighten as best as we can. But if we look at a certain competitor model who equally has a similar technology out there, and they've had it for some time, we have tested green, yellow, and red against when it's off into when it's on. And I think you can all see my cursor here. So on this side, on the left-hand side, you can see Sony, and then on the right-hand side, you can see the competitor model. So when we do it off, we then measure the accuracy of green and red and yellow, and then we turn it on and we remeasure in these areas. And we have very little shift of color with the spectrum. So there's no color shift. So we can increase the brightness without deteriorating on the accuracy of color. But our competitor model, as you can see, so the solid color is when it's off, and the rounded circle with no color inside is how it shifts. So there is some shift to our competitor models. So even though they had the feature and they can bring the brightness up, the color actually shifts. So the yellow shifts, the red shifts, and the green shifts. So the color accuracy is not as good if they had turned it off, or it's not as good as ours, meaning that we can have it off or on and our color accuracy does not shift, and it's still as good as you get. Okay, so I hope that was explained in layman terms, but we are pretty confident that our version is much better in the market. Reality creation, something we've been promoting for some time. The projectors now come defaulted with reality creation on. You can always turn it off, but it allows for that extra detail. So we look at every pixel in real time and we adjust accordingly, sharpen it and everything. So now with the update, we have like frequency, the high frequency, which is range 1 here. So where there's detail within the animal here, you can just get a bit of crisp detail, but then in the mid to low frequency that you can see with the tree here, we can adjust accordingly too. So not only can we adjust in certain areas of the high frequency, but with the low frequencies, so you get that better accuracy, better detail, but equally better depth of field. So it just gives that punch to the image, which is something that we've been doing for some time. So that's where the improvement is. It's not just looking at the high frequency. We can look at the high frequency. We can look at the mid to low frequency as well and adjust accordingly to give an extra punch. And equally with 4K signal, as I mentioned, this has a 4K 30p signal that we can input, and we can do it. So we can then equally with reality creation, look at the detail and tighten up in the very high frequency. So as much as it's still WXGA, the 4K 30p input coming in is so crisp and so detailed. It's got packs of punch that you almost think that you're looking at a 4K resolution type of projector. So that's where the quality comes in with the reality creation. So we can do the low frequencies, the high frequencies, and with 4K, we can really give it an extra punch with the details of looking at every single pixel and give it that 4K image feel to it. It's not, but it certainly looks that way. So much better quality than what we see in the market today. Improved throw ratio, I won't spend much time on here, but now we have 1.23 to 1.97, which is better than the PHZ12. So now most classrooms, most corporate environments, meeting rooms, we can hang and bang, replace whatever there. Any lamp model that's old and needs replaced, we can do it quite easily. And then the mirroring device. So as I mentioned, I slipped up at the beginning. So we have HDMI and we have USB, which provides power. So any retail off-the-shelf type of mirroring devices that you want to use or you can use, just plug it into the back of the projector, and then any device can be used to mirror and send content, video, images, anything you want through any device. Okay, so that's different to what we used to have in the PHZ12. Intelligent settings. So this is something we introduced with the 70 and 75. I think we're the only ones doing this today. So the new version of this, so not only do we have the ability, because we have so much knowledge now with how laser works and how 3LCD works with laser, that we now know that we can give you the best optimal color based on and quality based on the environment you're using it. So if you're in a classroom, obviously you need high brightness. We've got bright view now, so we can adjust with just one installation. When you hang it in, turn it into intelligent setting, turn it on, boom, classroom, there you go. Gives it the best quality that we know that you will need in that classroom. And equally, if you put it into a museum, we know that's probably dark areas, it's probably color reproduction is the most important, contrast is the most important, depth of field, getting the accuracy of the image or whatever you're portraying, so we can adjust accordingly the laser diodes and the panel to do forth, and equally with entertainment, we can do the same. So that was version 1. Now with version 2, we're actually monitoring the usage of the PHZ50 and 60. So we know every 500 hours, I think it is, they will monitor. So how long has this projector been going? If it's very low, then they can turn off some of the laser diodes, and then that the longevity of that projector becomes much longer, and also the quality of the color, because we're reducing some of the laser diodes. So when they die, we can turn them back on. And so we're monitoring that. And so equally, depending on the usage, we can adjust accordingly, and keeping the best color and best image possible for those 3 environments. Okay, so that's the version 2 and what we do. So there's this constant monitoring, not in real time, but it's done like every 500 hours. It will check and say, well, actually, this projector is not being used a lot, so let's turn off some of the laser diodes. We can keep the color, we can keep the brightness, we can keep everything, and it just gives it a longevity as the projector. Okay, so a feature we're developing and will continue to develop in other products that I don't believe our competitors are doing right now. So the panel output, standard for what you would want in something like this. We've got 2 HDMI, audio out, audio in, RGB, obviously, video in. We have, as I mentioned, this USB for power. The other USB is for firmware only updates. So a lot of the firmware now, as you should know by now, pretty much all of our projectors do this now. If there's a new firmware release, you can download it, put it on a memory stick, and you can put it in here and you can update. Very simple. There's no technician that really needs to be involved in getting this up. So you can find that information on our website. And then RJ45 control and HT base T, and of course RS232 control. So it's all there, what you expect at this level in the projector market. Dynamic contrast. So just spend a little time on this. Probably heard me mention this before. We spec infinity to 1. We spec it using the ISO IEC 21118 2005 calculation. So this is how we do it. We're not manipulating anything. We're doing it the way that everybody else does, but we say infinity to 1. But there's an issue with this, and I've been talking about this. The reason why we put infinity to 1 is because there's too many times in tenders written by other competitors where they say this projector needs to be, 250,000 to 1 or 2.5 million to 1 contrast. And because we're not speccing that, we're out of the tender. And it's a disservice to the industry because the customer doesn't realize that there's no such thing as 2.5 million to 1 in contrast ratio, especially in this environment. So we've done it so we don't get kicked out of the market. Okay, so that's why you see infinity to 1. Again, I've written an article about it in LinkedIn, so please go read that. And I've also done a YouTube video when I was introducing the 120 and the 90, that's when we started speccing infinity to 1, that it's a really disservice. If you really want contrast, it's a checkered anti-lumen type of contrast that you should do. We don't spec it on our website, but if you need it, we can provide it for real tenders and for real customers who really want to know what that contrast is. But again, in this environment with ambient light and so forth, very hard to detect real contrast. Okay, I hope you will understand that that's our position in the market with contrast. I prefer if it would just dynamic contrast would just go away because it's just a nonsense spec. Okay, so that was the PHZ50 and PHZ60. So I hope you understand that it's better. We've improved a lot on it from the PHZ12. We've had huge success with the 12. So let's continue with the 50 and 60. Okay, appreciate it. But let's not forget, we also introduced the CWZ10, which is a WXGA 5000 lumen laser projector. So we also have that product on the market. It is much smaller than the PWZ10, which it's replacing. It's about 40% smaller. It's actually smaller than the PHZ50 and 60, so really tiny. And the key feature to this is we have a new scalar chip within the projector. So any type of WUXGA resolution input sent to it, it actually scales it better than it would be WXGA, if I can explain it in layman terms. So you get better image, better quality, and more of the image, which you would expect with WXGA, but it is still WXGA. So that's the added feature to this model. So when we, so we've got the CWZ10, 5000 lumen WXGA, 5000 lumen WXGA, and then 6 lumen WXGA in the 50 and 60. So these 3 models we've recently introduced, which really hits that sweet spot in the market. And this is what you expect with this product, the normal panel that you would expect with this type of product. So I've done a video. You may have seen the video on our Spark21 trade show, our booth. But it really talks about these 3 models and why we've introduced these 3 models. We started with the PHZ10, introduced that model into the market, and we were very successful with it. So we wanted to bring out the 50 to replace it, bring in the 6K lumen, but also a lower version WXGA model. So now to your customers, you can offer 6,000 lumen WXGA. No, they need 5. You got WXGA. Well, maybe the price. We got lamp, we want something else, then you can drop them down to the CWZ10. So it's like a step up or step down, which I think is a good lineup that we just recently introduced into the market. So I hope you understand that. So let me just quickly go through other models. I don't know how much time I've got left. I think I'm running out of time very quickly. So let me zoom through. So the 70 and the 75, we've had this on the market for some time. We'll continue to have it on the market. 5.5 thousand lumen, 6.5. We still have black models available. We have eliminated the lensless versions since April the 1st, but we still have the optional lenses. What's unique about this product, which we introduced and explained it, was that it's a new 0.76 panel, but we're using an optical compensator, so it reduces light spillage, better contrast, better color accuracy than what you were expecting with the Lapan, the 58, the 61, and 66. And these are the outputs and inputs in the back. Standard optional lenses, which you should all be familiar with, from a 0.33 at 0.33 to 1, so ultra short throw all the way to long throw zoom power zoom, 3.8 to 4.84 throw ratio. So we have the whole gamut there. You can see that we pretty much cover the whole length that you need for optional lenses. And we have a very good horizontal shift and vertical shift within these lenses, which you should all be aware of. And then we go to the 91, the 101, the 131. We just, well, I wouldn't say we just, at the beginning of lockdown, I think we had, the first lockdown, we had introduced these models, replacing the 90 and the 120. So for auditoriums, museum, edge blend capabilities, all the four. So we got 13,000 lumen, a 10,000 lumen, and a 9,000 lumen in the higher end of our lineup. So again, all like the 70 and 75, it had the optical compensator. It's the first time we're using a 1-inch 3 LCD panel, so we're able to get that brightness. We're able to, with bright error, pass through a lot of light, so the quality, the colors, the contrast, fine text and fine detail is all there with the 1-inch panel and the optical compensator, getting as much light directed into the optical engine. And then the inputs and outputs that you should all be familiar with. So 3 really strong products in the 9, 10, and 13 lumen market. And different optional lenses, the 4,000 lumen, different than the 70 and 75, but equally full range, the range that you need. The only thing I would say it's missing, but we go to 0.75. So we do have a short throw lens in that market. And the horizontal and vertical shift is probably best in class within our competitors. So we can have a lot, depending on the lens, obviously, but we can shift nearly 100%, and some of the lenses 99%. So we have that very strong, good lens shift with vertical and horizontal, and obviously all bayonet. Even the other models, they're all bayonet now. Okay, so important, changing lineup. So please listen, because there are a lot of changes. The 58, the 61, the 66 is now end of life. Those 3 models have been officially end of life. We've announced end of life. We still have a few left. So if you need them, please talk to your account manager. But they will probably be gone by the first quarter of this year. So April, May, probably by the end of May, there'll be none left. So if you have any projects, please let us know because they are end of life. Equally end of life is the FH60 and 65. You probably have all forgotten about this. This is our lamp version of the FHZ60 and 65 that we introduced some years ago. So we used to have that dual strategy, laser and lamp, so the customer could have both. Well, we're now discontinuing the lamp version and we're not replacing it. There goes the lamp. No more lamp models from Sony within that range. Okay, and I'll mention that again later. So they are end of life, very few left. The E400 series, so which was only the EW455 and the EX455, those 2 models are end of life. So we are getting rid of our E series, which model? So the 3.5 and the 3.6 lumen lamp, very low end market. They will be discontinued and they will not be replaced. So the only models that we will have left that are lamp is actually, oh, sorry, went too fast. Cheetah, or the CH model, so which we've had now in the market since 2014. A long time we've had these products. So 4,000 and 5,000 lumen WXGA lamp. They are end of life. They are coming end of life. They will be end of life in the second half of this year. So probably by September, all gone. Again, not being replaced. All our lamp models gone. Okay, I think you're getting the message now. The last one, but 1 remains, or 2 remains, the EX575 and the EW575 are the only 2 models that remain for the end of this fiscal year. And then they will be end of life, which means that Sony, as a manufacturer of 3 LCD and laser projectors, will no longer be offering lamp projectors in the market. Okay, we are going fully laser. There's reasons for that. And those reasons are obviously efficiency with laser diodes, cleaner for the environment, no more high pressure mercury lamps on the market, disposing of them. So it's a very green message. It's the technology that is mostly preferred in the market. It's the technology that Sony started with the FHZ55 with the blue laser phosphorus technology. So we have got to that point now where we will continue to develop laser, get better with laser, more and more, introduce new models, but officially no more lamp business. No more lamp projectors in the business or education market will be available. Okay, hope you understand. I hope you like that message, because we are moving forward as a manufacturer, and it's going to be pure laser, and it's a green initiative that getting to zero footprint. We want to make sure that the technology that we're bringing to market is the safest, the cleanest, and the best in the environment. Okay. So I'm running out of time, I'm pretty sure. Sorry for that. So I've just talked about all of the end of the life, but you will see right here that I will be in this year, very shortly, start talking about 2 new models that we're bringing to market. 6,000, 7,000. There may be some other products coming and a different brightness, but I can't talk much about it, but we are introducing new models this year that will give us a very solid lineup. So we got 5K fixed WXGA, 5 and 6 with the PHZ50 and 60. Then we have 6 lumens, 7 lumens with optional lenses, same optional lenses of the 3000 series. Then we have 9, 10, and 13. So a very strong laser lineup to move forward into towards the end of FY21 and moving into FY22. Okay, and so once again, I want to give that message very clear. Sony is laser. We started it, and we're now officially end-of-lifing all of our lamp projectors except for 2, but they will be discontinued by the end of FY21 fiscal. So my last slide, I believe, and that is, obviously I'm the PM for business projectors. I also handle SRG cameras, but equally within the Sony family, and now that we're independent within the consumer side, a lot more opportunities. We have Bravia displays. We have now the crystal LED and the new video wall that we're bringing to market. Business projectors, obviously, visual simulation and entertainment. 4K camera, SRG cameras, which I'm responsible for. We now have new technology with microphones, beamforming microphones, edge analytic applications, TEOS, and home cinema. So a huge breadth of products from one manufacturer. So it's very good to note that, you know, as a manufacturer, we really do have a lot of you covered with all the opportunities and AV equipment out in the market. And as I mentioned before, we have a very strong commitment, the road to zero with environmental issues. So we are constantly looking at our products and how to improve. Hence the reason, once again, we are eliminating our lamp projectors from the market. Okay, so I think that's me. I hope I did it in time.
Thank you, Rob. Very comprehensive update there. We've had a few questions coming through, so let's go through them. The first question is someone here keen to know when they can actually see the new models.
The new ones I just mentioned. So yeah, they're going to be introduced probably in October when we'll have them shipping for the first time. So I believe that I will have demo equipment probably July, August timeframe. And hopefully with COVID down, you know, we can start traveling again. Hopefully what I normally would do is I would go on a tour and I would meet with our key customers and demonstrate them and show them the new product. So probably mid-year, we can start really showing you the products, the specifications, and so forth. So you can get those into tenders when they start shipping, probably October, November time.
Great, thank you. Next question we've had is, what is the impact of BrightView on the 20,000 hours warranty if it's used intensively?
No impact. That's a very good question. My understanding, absolutely no impact. We're not increasing the brightness. All we're doing is we're manipulating. There's see, in layman terms, we're looking at the processing capabilities of the projector. We're looking at every pixel and we're adjusting and cleaning up the noise. And so it gives a brighter impression and adjusting the green a little bit. So it gives that brightness effect. Doesn't change the color accuracy. So there's no effect on the laser diodes. It's not the laser diodes that we're using to create that brightness up. So no effect on that 20,000 hours.
Okay. Next question. I know you just launched the PHZ50 and the PHZ60, but do you have a roadmap? Will there be a refresh in the features in the future?
Okay, my answer is yes, of course, and I can only explain it today as in, well, we introduced the PHZ10 back in 2017, and then we refreshed with the PHZ12. And then we said, because from feedback from our partners, the throw ratio wasn't good enough, you need a 6K lumen, so we had to make some adjustments. So we shrunk the chassis, we changed the throw ratio, different optical engine, different panel size so we can get better brightness out of it. And so we then introduced the 50 and 60. So without a doubt, there will probably be a 55, a 65 forthcoming. But obviously for this year, as we just launched, the 50 and 60 is really where the market is. And we believe that with the competitors that are out there, and we know who they all are and what models they have, that the quality of these two products are sublime in the market. But we will adjust accordingly, probably in a year's time, maybe less. But yes, absolutely, no doubt in my mind, there will be new ones.
Excellent. Now, one that you've kind of covered, but a question about why does Sony spec infinity to 1 contrast ratio?
Okay, yeah, as I did cover that, and so, but it's very important. As a PM, I get a lot of calls. Hey, hey Rob, we're working on this tender, and there's a tender out there. We want to go for it, but the contrast ratio needs to be 750,000 to 1. So I always say, well, that's not a true spec. Yeah, I know it's not true, and it's not real, and it's dynamic, and they will never get that. But if we can't match it, then we're not in the tender, and so they won't look at our product. I said, well, that's a disservice to the market, the poor customer. Whoever told them that, the customer is being manipulated. So we've decided, using no trickery, smoke and mirrors, we're using the same test. We're measuring black, which is really no black, and we're measuring white in a very dark room separately, not as a checkered flag, and we're coming up with a number which is infinity to 1. So the next time somebody says, oh, well, Sony, your contrast ratio needs to be, 1.25 million to 1 to participate, no problem, it's infinity to 1. But we all know in this industry that that is just a fake contrast spec. Shouldn't be there. Just remove it, but it's there. So that's the reason. Hope it's clear this time.
Okay, thank you, Rob. Just a couple more to go here, I think. So a question around the 20,000 hours. What does it actually mean? Does the projector fail after 20,000 hours?
No, I think I mentioned this one too, but it was at the very beginning. So no, and I've written an article about this because again, I hear a lot. Oh well, the X model from the other manufacturer, they said they can do 40,000 hours. Well, so can we. Oh, it says they can do 60,000 with their high-end model. So can we. The problem is that measurement is a measurement of time and brightness. So as I pointed out, if you go back to the lamp days, lamps, you install a new lamp, you had after like 4,000 hours, 50% of the lamp would deteriorate. So the brightness would be half of the original brightness, and then you replace it, go back to 100%, and then 50 and replace it. So with laser, you've got 20,000 hours, right? We state after 20,000 hours, that projector will only be 30% decline, or it will be 70% of the original spec. So as I think I pointed out, the FH101 to make it easier, that's 10,000 lumens. After 20,000 hours of use, on average, in normal conditions, that projector will be at 7,000 lumens, okay? That would be the spec on average. Now, 40,000 hours, when our competitors say it will last for 40, last for 60, you got to ask yourself, what brightness will that be at 40 and 60? And that's where the problem is. So don't be fooled. That is a measurement of when you first turn it on, period, a matter of time against brightness, and obviously there's a curve there. So after 40,000, so if you took a 10,000 lumen projector and they said, oh, it's 40,000, 60,000 hours, and it was at 10K lumen, it's probably going to be around 2,000 lumen after 40 or 60,000 hours, and you're not going to be able to use that projector. So again, it's a bit of a silly thing for our competitors to point out, but we are 70% of brightness after 20,000, and that's probably the best in the market.
Great, thank you. And this is definitely our final question. Are laser projectors dangerous if used in the classroom for students?
No, is the answer. It's got a classification of class 1. All laser projectors, not just Sony. So I'm going out there for the whole industry, and I think it should be known by now that there is a classification of class 1 in the European market. It is different in China. It is different in the US, and that's probably where the confusion is, because we have to put that badge on the projector and it will say 3R, and people will say, oh, 3R means you shouldn't look into the lens and so forth. That is a description for the US and China. In the European market, it's class 1. So it's just as good as any light source within a classroom or an environment. Only when you're dealing with very long throw lenses, maybe with the high-end models and long throw, will you probably get a classification of 3R. But equally, if they're up in the auditorium pointing down, the likelihood of any student or any person able to physically look at it in the eye, it's not possible. So totally safe, has been safe. And that, again, pretty much all lasers in the market today.
Great, thank you, Rob. So I think that's all we've got time for today. Thanks everyone for listening. If you haven't done so already, please do go and visit the exhibition stand. You can still ask Rob your questions if you have any more. Just go to the message function on the projector stand, and Rob will be manning the stand for the next couple of weeks until the 7th of May. So yeah, visit us in the hall, and thanks for listening.
That's no lie. I will be monitoring.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.